All right, so we are back for episode 2, about to figure out what movie that we're going to watch. Anthony, take it away.
The dice. Here we go. It's 6.
6.
Number 6.
We are going to be watching, great follow-up to Hacksaw Ridge, Manchester by the Sea.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
This movie looks like it's going to have a lot of Oscar buzz, and I think this is going to be a big-time winner later on.
A lot of Dunkin' Donuts. All
A
right.
lot of Dunkin' Donuts. All right, episode 2 coming at you after this.
Wonder Twin powers, activate!
Quiet on the set. Can we please have quiet on the set?
Would she go down on you in a theater?
Scrumtrelescent.
And just like the movies,
Acting!
This is Will Smith and you're listening to my boys Mike and Anthony on Bud Light's Camera Action.
All right, welcome back. Episode number 2 of the Road to the Oscars. This is Manchester by the Sea, and normally we go into an all-out conversation, free form, but Anthony's going to let me talk about something here real quick, and I'm just going to hijack the episode. So, listen, if you have not seen Manchester by the Sea, stop this episode right now, go to the movies, see this fucking movie, and come back and then start it up. Ant and I are going to try to break the movie down the best that we can, but I don't know if two idiots like us can really do this justice because, I mean, from the acting to the story, the direction of it, it was just hands down one of the best movies I've seen in such a long time, and it's hard to find problems with it. There's just unbelievable circumstances that the characters face in this, and you're just watching the movie with your heart in your throat the entire time. But somehow it's also one of the funniest movies I've ever seen for such weird reasons. So I really hope that this movie wins a lot. Cards on the table? Go ahead.
Bigly.
Yeah.
Bigly.
Bigly. I hope it wins bigly. Because
Casey Affleck deserves all the awards for this.
Cards on the table, I think we're both going to love this movie. So, Anthony, go ahead. I've said my piece.
As the great Ty Dillinger has said, 10 out of 10. This movie was poignantly real. And I say that it was raw. There were parts where it wasn't dramatic. There was no cinematic drama added. There were parts where things were very quiet and awkward in a way that a real life would be quiet and awkward. So I think we would be doing it a disservice if we did it scene by scene like we usually do. Yeah. We should we're going to do a brief synopsis of Casey Affleck's
unbelievable
performance of his character, his family, everything that happened to him is crazy, perfectly directed. I couldn't praise this movie more. I actually went to see it last night in the movie theater. I live across the street from the movies. And I came out of that movie theater stunned. My girlfriend only just stopped crying. So,
all right, so last chance. If you have not seen this, there are going to be a ton of spoilers. This movie is not worth being spoiled. Go out and see it. So, let's jump into it. This movie takes place in Boston. Casey Affleck is playing a very depressed man, and you can't tell why yet. It's a lot of lead up to it, and you can just tell that he's dealing with a lot of pain. He's going out to the bar. There are girls that are obviously interested in him. He wants nothing to do with them. He won't talk to them. There's people who you can tell want to be a part of his life. Wants nothing to do with them. For some reason, he's just torturing himself.
Just gets into fights every bar he goes to. And the first 15 minutes before I knew the circumstances, I was like, I've been in this guy's shoes. I've been in a thankless job before where people just bitch at you all day, and then you go to the bar by yourself and you want to fight some dude in a suit. Yeah, who hasn't been there? But when you find out what happened to this dude, it makes whatever happened to you seem like bullshit.
Well, when we get to that part, we definitely are going to have to go into that part big time. But basically, I knew going into this movie that I had read and seen things that were just praising this movie and talking about how great it was. So my expectations were insanely high. I don't know about you if you had seen anything on it. There's a lot of Oscar buzz on this movie.
I had high expectations going in, and they were all met.
Oh, mine were absolutely exceeded. When I saw certain parts of this film, I could not. My jaw was on the floor at times in this movie at how good it was, and then how all of a sudden they would pull you back with just an unbelievable bit of unintentional comedy or a little bit of like awkwardness that just made you. I was laughing out loud in this movie as well.
I agree. There were parts of this movie where I wanted to laugh, but as I was in a movie theater, I found it inappropriate for me to laugh, and I found myself the only one laughing. But the awkward parts were just kind of funny. Like, we'll get into them, but I thought like one of the funniest parts was when like he tried the nephews tries hugging him.
Yes.
The first time I was like, thanks, Uncle Lee. After he lets the girls sleep over at his house, like he gives them like a hug, good night, and like it was so awkward that it was funny.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know?
So, like we said, Casey Affleck, Lee is working as a janitor. All of a sudden, one day he gets a phone call and heads up to Manchester. Actually, I read this. This town used to be called Manchester. A few years ago, I'm not sure when. Somebody put it into legislation. This town is actually called Manchester by the Sea.
It is. It's very, very bougie.
Yeah, you could tell.
Luckily for us, coming up later, we have our resident Massachusetts expert,
I'm from
Maureen Riley.
Manchester.
Manchester.
By the
You're
sea.
from Manchester.
So
and she's
so
she'll tell us all about this, but
so going forward, Lee gets a call, and the call is basically telling him that his brother had a heart attack, and you don't really know what's going on. So he takes the trip up, and he goes up to Manchester by the Sea, and finds out that his brother has passed away. I mean, Lee shows zero emotion. He's still just nothing.
it was almost funny to me, that scene, even though it was like extremely sad. Like the things that how he reacted to that, was kind of like he just like said, well, fuck.
Yeah. I mean, the first words he says, he walks in and people are trying to greet him, and he walks in and goes, "Is he dead?"
Yeah.
First thing he says, So this movie does a great job. I thought it was super interesting. I love a movie that doesn't follow the A to B to C plot like timeline. This movie does a lot of jumping around where they'll set you up for something with the way that they're kind of going down a road, and then all of a sudden they bring you back to 10 years ago and show you exactly what that just meant. And basically, they go back, they tell you that Lee's brother had congestive heart disease, and he was given about 5 to 10 years to live.
By the way,
yes,
his brother is Coach Taylor.
Yeah, yep,
from
the
Friday Night
great
Lights.
Coach Taylor.
Incredible actor, Kyle Chandler.
I love Kyle Chandler.
Didn't have to change his last name here.
Yeah.
Just had to change his first name.
Yes.
Joe
Chandler. So, basically from there, they go straight into showing a flashback of Lee and his nephew Patrick. Kind of, you could tell that they were both very close when Patrick was a young boy.
They were on a fishing boat. That's pretty important.
Right. And I love, here's maybe our first great example of the Boston accent when they're on the boat and Patrick, they're talking about fishing and they're talking about sharks and everything.
Shacks.
And little Patrick just keeps screaming because they catch something on the line, and he just keeps screaming, "It's not a shark. It's not a shack. It's not a shack. Uncle Lee, stop fucking with me. It's not a shack."
Yeah, it wouldn't be a movie. It wouldn't be a movie with an Affleck in it if the Boston accents weren't. By the way, Casey Affleck didn't really like. He was just like, okay, I'll just be like my depressed self in this, right? Like,
Yeah. Basically, this was a Matt Damon movie. This movie was actually conceptualized and pitched by Matt Damon and John Krasinski.
Jim from The Office.
Yes.
Yeah.
And basically, this movie had been they tried to make this movie for years. Didn't work. Finally, they say, this is the movie. We're going to go for it. And Matt Damon is in production for The Martian. So, wanting to keep it with somebody who he thought he could get the same point across, obviously, he has a good relationship with Ben Affleck. He has the same relationship with Casey and said, I want you to be the guy who takes this movie over for me.
I don't know how you feel about this, but I think this movie would have not been as good with Matt Damon.
100%. There's not a chance.
I think Casey Affleck was absolutely perfect for this character. If Matt Damon was in there, I would have just been like, oh, here's Matt Damon being Matt Damon, only depressed.
I wouldn't buy Matt Damon as the super outcast, loner, depressed guy. Casey Affleck pulled that off. Beautiful. It was perfect. He was so good in this role.
This is only the second movie that I've seen, so I'm going to rank them: Casey Affleck, Andrew Garfield.
I mean, Andrew Garfield, I said in the last episode that he wasn't going to win Best Actor. Now, after seeing this, please, I mean, he's going to get blown out of the water.
Absolutely.
So, another thing we've got to touch on now, in another flashback, you see that Lee was married at one time and had 3 young kids.
Mm-hmm.
And he was
married to Michelle Williams.
Married to Michelle Williams, and he is a completely different guy. Super happy, joking, laughing. He's flirting with his wife. They're having a great time. Like, you can tell he really loves his kids. So that plants an early seed that something happened, because at one point they do also mention that he is divorced. He says, my ex-wife. So something happened. You don't know what, but something happened in there.
And at this point, I'm just like, okay, like, a divorce, I guess the ex-wife took the kids, and he's depressed about that. Well, keep watching.
I thought so too, and I thought maybe, maybe a little heavier than that, because I had heard that this movie rips your heart out. So I was going into it thinking pretty high, and I still didn't. I mean, when we get to that part,
I did not see the outcome of what happened.
It was so much worse than what I could have even imagined.
Right.
So, so from here on, Lee is now taking care of his brother's son, who is I couldn't get a.
He's 16.
He's 16. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he was I think he was 8 in the first scene when he's on the boat with him as a little kid.
Yeah. Okay.
And now it's 8 years later.
Got you.
So he's 16. So he's a sophomore in high school?
Yes.
And he's on the hockey team, and he's
They say something about middle school at one point, though, which really threw me off.
Middle high school? I don't know.
Yeah.
It's some kind of weird. I don't know. Maybe our listeners in New England could chime in, maybe, and let us know that.
When you talk like this, you don't have the best educational system.
No, maybe it's it's 6th grade to 12th grade. You fucking dick. Yeah, New York Yankees.
So, you kind of talked about this before. There's the great scene where Patrick has his friends come over, and Patrick has a girlfriend who he wants to sleep over. So Patrick and Lee have a great exchange about, do you mind if my girlfriend, or do you mind if she stays over? My dad used to let me. He's like, well,
yeah.
I'm not your dad. If your dad said it was okay, then it's fine with me.
Right.
He goes to walk out of the room, and he's like, listen, it's not going to come up, but just in case it does, her parents think she sleeps downstairs. And he's just kind of like lingering in the doorway, and this was
It's such typical teenage behavior.
I mean, everybody's
We've all
been there
been
before
there.
where it's like, hey, listen, like, if anybody asks, she slept downstairs or, this or that, like, just, kind of cover for me. Maybe I thought this was maybe the funniest line. Lee's kind of just sitting there looking at him and he goes, am I supposed to tell you to wear a condom? You could tell he's just so uncomfortable.
The delivery of every line was like so good. I can't explain like how good it was. That he delivered it like, oh, am I supposed to like? He's like clearly depressed, but he's like still funny. He's like, oh, am I supposed to tell you that you're supposed to wear a condom?
Yeah.
It's just like, yeah, me and my dad already had this conversation, but like, who knows if they did? Like
he could he could
kid
absolutely
was,
be lying about it.
And that is the really interesting part about this. The theme of this movie was learning how to grieving levels of grieving that everyone had. This teenager was like,
Good
oh,
point.
I'm gonna sleep with my girlfriend for the first time because like who's gonna tell me no now because he only lived with his dad, right? So
Absolutely.
like he took it a different way than Lee was taking it. Everyone, it shows you different ways that people take it and different stages of their life, which for me was very human, it was very interesting to watch.
Like I said, in the very beginning here, this movie, I mean, the acting we've already hit on how great it was, and the direction of it, but the story is just, I mean, it's so universal, like just having to deal with grief and
Right.
figuring out what you can do to get by, and the way that these two deal with everything, it's unbelievable. I mean, it's so perfectly acted, and the direction of the movie is just so well done that it was so fleshed out beforehand.
Right. It's not an action movie, right? It's like this is boring, regular ass life. You make real life look like I could tell that it was a really good movie because you know what? I didn't look at my phone once.
Yeah.
During the whole fucking movie, I didn't look at my phone once.
I'm so glad that you said that. I did the same thing.
Happening.
The only use of my phone that I had for this was writing notes down. I did not check Twitter once. Wasn't on Facebook. Nothing. No social media. I was betting hockey that night, and I swear to God, legitimately turned off my score updates.
Did you win? You win?
I lost. Thanks a lot, Rangers. I bet on the Rangers.
Well, that's your first.
And yes, they got blown out.
Yeah, shout out Tom Foley.
Yeah.
Fuck your Rangers.
But 3-team parlay and the Rangers lose. But I digress.
Oh no.
So I literally did not use my phone for anything. I was so just pulled into this movie and could not get out of it.
Right, like usually at least I check it, to see what kind of notifications,
Yeah.
If my mistress Mike Carlino's texting me while I'm in the movie theater, I gotta check it. I didn't look at it once.
No.
Not once.
So going ahead in the story, Lee and Patrick, well, it's basically just Lee. He has to meet with his brother's attorney, or lawyer, and they basically find out that Lee was put in the will as Patrick's legal guardian, and he really isn't into it because he doesn't think he can take care of himself, let alone a 16-year-old boy, and also relocate.
Right.
So
he lives south of Boston in a town called Quincy.
Quincy,
kid, you garbage, Quincy.
Kid from Quincy. You slapping a little puck around from Quincy, eh? So this is where the entire... I think the whole story changes right here because it's a completely different movie before this and after this. So they start showing clips of a night where Lee had a couple friends over. They're all downstairs playing ping pong, all pretty drunk, and they're all making a bunch of noise. is Michelle Williams' name Brandy? Randy,
yes.
So she comes downstairs. She tells everybody to get out because they're gonna wake the kids up. So everybody leaves. Lee is pretty hammered, and he goes and takes a walk to the gas station grocery store to go pick some stuff up, get more beer, and dude, so even to this point, like you said, you thought maybe Randy left him and took the kids, or I thought that there was going to be a car accident, something like that. So Lee is walking back up to the house and sees flashing lights. The flashing lights are from the fire department. There are fire trucks out in front of the house. And basically what happens is you find out when he's in the police station, Lee said that he was drinking, smoking a little weed, he did some coke, and he started a fire to keep the kids warm, and when he left to go to the grocery store, one of the logs must have rolled out, and the entire house went up in flames, and they then cut to the fire department pulling 3 small body bags out of the house.
Yeah. So his kids die in a fire.
That was started by him.
Yeah.
Because he was drunk.
Well, yeah. So that's when it really took a turn. But there was a scene there, and I don't know if you noticed this, when Michelle Williams, because she was like in the fire too, but she was rescued. The kids were not rescued.
The ambulance.
Where she is being put into the ambulance.
Yes.
And they can't get her in there.
Mm-hmm.
And I was completely shocked and floored by the fact that these 3 small children just fucking died. But they couldn't get her into the ambulance. I almost kind of wanted to laugh. And I read up about it, and apparently the actors that were in that couldn't fucking figure out how to work the ambulance, the gurney to get into the ambulance.
Yeah.
And the director was leave it in because that is real shit.
It brought levity to the scene. Awkward. Absolutely.
And I was like, is this supposed to be funny? I couldn't tell if it was supposed to be funny or not, right? Because I was like, should I be crying or laughing right now? I don't know.
And this is also right after they show you Lee in the police station pulling a police officer's gun off of his belt and pulling the trigger, but the gun wasn't cocked at the time to kill himself.
Right.
So you can...
So fucking guilty.
Yeah. Just... at this point, you would think that any movie just comes to a crashing halt, because how do you get past that?
Right, yeah.
I literally laughed in the next scene when Lee and Patrick are kind of bugging out and they're fighting with each other, and they cannot pronounce Minnetonka, Minnesota. They fuck it up throughout the whole movie.
They couldn't do the whole movie.
The whole movie they fuck this up.
Yeah.
They keep Minnetonka. Yeah, Tatanka. They keep screwing it up, and literally, it's the next scene, and I started laughing. Right after I just saw 3 small children get pulled from a fire, this movie makes you laugh with its just quirky awkwardness.
Right.
And a lot of it has to do with the fact that Patrick and Lee, their dialogue and just their back and forth is so crisp. It is a back and forth that is just... right after that, they end up losing the car. They can't find the car. That scene is unbelievably funny again.
It's so funny. They walk blocks, they can't find the car, and it's freezing out. And you see, there's a lot of really, really pretty shots of the water and how this town is on the water and how it's a really big boating community, which is awesome. But that was also the scene that we found out that Patrick actually has 2 girlfriends.
Yes.
Which, by the way, can we talk about that? Because did both of those girls go to the same fucking high school with him? And how did he not get caught, I don't know, like one of them taking a selfie with him, like there's so many ways
I know.
now that you cannot possibly pull such a bold move off.
Absolutely.
If they go to the same high school, I don't know. Like,
so
how did he do it?
I don't know, but this was like right around the time where I started looking at this kid, and I was like, he is unbelievably like witty, quick, funny, and he can act his ass off.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, he killed it in this movie, and I looked it up. He's actually nominated for a Best Supporting Actor.
He is.
He is.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Dude, how old is he for real? He's not 16, is he?
I can look it up. It doesn't come up because...
Is he from New England?
See, I really don't know a lot about this kid.
We don't know. This is like one of those movies, if the credits were in the beginning, it would be introducing whatever this kid's name as Patrick.
It's Lucas something. Lucas Hedges. I could try to pull it up, but yeah, I didn't really look at who the other people were. As far as best support, he's 20.
Okay.
And he's actually from Brooklyn Heights.
Oh, Brooklyn boy.
Yeah.
I think he did that Boston accent all right. I don't know.
I thought
he was acting.
Acting? I thought he was outstanding in this movie. Yeah, so talk a little bit about now girlfriend number 2.
Girlfriend number 2 is the lead singer of his atrocious high school band.
Oh yeah, wait, so hold on. I know I just told you to go and then told you to stop, but how about this kid doing fucking everything?
Yeah.
He was
in a band, played hockey.
He talks about he's on the basketball team.
Yeah.
He loves fishing.
Fishing, theater. Went to theater, was going to see Godspell, whatever the fuck.
That part was hilarious. Hey Patrick, you going to see Godspell?
Yeah.
That was excellent.
Right.
But yeah, so go ahead, continue with the
the girl, so they have band practice at this girl's house, I guess whatever day that they have. Single mother is interested in Lee, but
yes.
Of course we now know that he's unavailable emotionally. And he's just trying to bang her, dude. Like, there's no other way around it. He's just trying to, how did he put it? Solve these math equations?
Yeah, and he also says something about, oh boy. He said, Lee asks Patrick, are you banging both of these girls? And he goes, I am with Sophie. I think her name is
Sylvie.
Sylvie.
By the way, that girl kind of sucked.
Awful. In the beginning, yeah, no, I'm not a fan.
She was like whispering in his ear.
Yes.
When he called it out, he was like, I don't like this fucking girl.
I know. But he's like, I'm banging Sylvie, and this other girl, he's like, I do basements, or he said like basement stuff. And Lee was like, what does that mean? He's like, I'm working on it.
Yeah, working on it.
So that the scenes where he's trying to have sex with her are hilarious.
Right, yeah. I mean, just such typical high school shit.
Yeah. Of
trying to sleep with a girl with their parents home. It's like textbook.
So, by the way, let me just cut back to supporting best actor in supporting role. Mm-hmm. Yeah, this kid, Lucas Hedges, he's got some goddamn good competition.
Yeah.
He's got, I don't know how to say his actual, Manersala Ali. It's Remy Dalton.
Oh, from House of Cards.
House of Cards.
Oh, he's in for supporting actor, not best actor?
Supporting. No. Yes, supporting.
So that dude's doing supporting actor?
Yes.
Okay.
So, and then Jeff Bridges in Hell or High Water.
Okay.
Dev Patel in Lion. And Michael Shannon in Nocturnal Animals.
Damn.
So he's going up against, like, some legit actors.
All right, we'll find out.
So yeah,
Personally, I think Remy is going to win that category.
I've heard really good things about that actually.
Yeah. We'll get to it. We'll certainly get to it.
We most definitely will. So maybe this would. You know what? Actually, never mind. So, there are there's a lot of girls that find Lee very attractive, which is something that I wanna just come back to later.
Okay.
But this is the part where Lee's ex reaches back out to him, and she asks if she could be at the funeral. She also tells him that she is remarried and she's pregnant.
Tough.
And Casey Affleck in these scenes, by saying he literally just, I mean, his whole character, basically, like, the way that he speaks is cutting people off. He cuts them off very short because he's so awkward, and just, like, a lot of it is just, all right, okay, that's fine. Yeah, okay. Like, very short, quick, and watching him react over the phone, his body language, and just the way that you could tell that him finding out that Randy was pregnant was just unbelievable acting. It was heartbreaking to watch him.
Right. Yeah. It really was. And also when he actually sees her for the first time.
Yeah.
At the service.
Right. Yeah, so after this I'm trying to think. Yeah, so after I believe it's after the service, they Patrick really doesn't want to leave Manchester, but Lee has a job back in Quincy. He doesn't want to stay up here, and he's basically telling him, you have to leave. After school lets out this year, we're going to have to leave. And he basically kind of loses it, punches a window, and this is like the first real emotion that you see from him, the entire movie.
Well, he's starting to lose it because it turns out that him and his wife and kids also lived in Manchester by the Sea.
Yes. Yeah. So his ex-wife is right there. She, at a later time, you hear that she sees him walking around town. It's rough.
Yeah, so this is also important, as you can imagine, if this happened in like a small town, of a guy getting like fucked up and partying till 2 a.m. and then his house burns down and his kids die. He's pretty, like, people have taken his ex-wife's side on this, and people do not like him in this town.
Right. People are giving him a lot of second looks, and he at one point tries to apply for a job, and as soon as he applies for the job and walks out, somebody else comes up and says, I don't ever want to see him in this building again. Yeah, people do not like him.
He's public enemy number one right now.
Right. And then this is where Patrick's mother interjects herself into the story.
Right.
So she tries to get a hold of Patrick. Lee ends up hanging up on her. And
we should probably clarify that this kid's mom was like an alcoholic drug addict that like left when he was like 8 years old.
Right. So she's been out of the picture for a long time. Really needed to clean her act up.
Right.
And apparently she has. So she ends up getting in touch with Patrick herself. And he goes over to have a meal to get to know his mom again and her new husband. Her new husband is Ferris Bueller.
Yeah, he's a super fucking weirdo now. I don't know what happened to Matthew Broderick, by the way. Like,
he married Sarah Jessica Parker. And he definitely hates his life now.
Yeah,
I think it's pretty apparent.
Do you think he was in a situation where he's like, oh, Sarah Jessica Parker, I know her from Hocus Pocus. She's super hot. And then, like, he married her. And then, like, he was like, oh.
She
I
sucks.
fucked up.
Yeah, probably. That all seems to line up. I buy that story.
I think that's right. Like, that sounds correct.
I buy it.
Okay.
So they have the most awkward dinner or lunch of all time.
Lunch. It was not even dinner. It was lunch.
It was so awkward. I mean, his mom is a complete mess still, as far as she just. They keep telling him, don't be so polite.
Yeah.
And then he would crack a joke, and they wouldn't understand the joke. And he would apologize for the joke, and they would say, "Oh, don't worry, you don't have to apologize. Stop being so polite. Like, you can be normal around us," and blah. Awful.
That's when it dawned on him that he like didn't belong. He like needed to be with like Uncle Lee.
He needed Lee. And after the meal, basically, Matthew Broderick emails Patrick and pretty much tells him, "Don't contact your mother. If you ever want to talk to her again, you're going to have to go through me to talk to her because she's very upset."
Yeah.
So another part, we kind of glossed over it, but we should get to it. We should touch on it just really quick. Patrick's dad owned a boat, a fishing boat that we kind of talked about before, and it needs a new motor in order to be able to run and make money off of it. They end up selling all of these.
Were those like old antique guns?
Yes, they were antique guns. Yeah.
I couldn't really tell what they were. I was like, are these guns or swords? What the fuck?
They were antique guns, yeah. And so I know that they were guns because Lee walks downstairs. He opens up the gun locker, and Patrick walks into the room after him. And Lee is very depressed at this point still. And Patrick walks in and just goes, "Who are you going to shoot? You or me?" And they end up talking about how valuable the antique guns are, and they sell them and get a motor for the boat. So now Lee is doing some awesome things for Patrick, basically.
Right, yeah. He's at first he was very he wasn't really into doing this. Now he's like starting to like warm up to this idea of being his guardian. And
this is also, then the next scene, Lee ends up letting Patrick and his girlfriend, who he hasn't had sex with, the girlfriend number 2, he gives them a house for a few hours to go run errands, air quotes, and so that they can finally have sex, essentially.
And, well, they did. Well, they didn't show it, but they did do it.
They did.
It was implied.
It was implied. It was there.
It happened. Because he actually likes that girl. He doesn't like the other girl.
Right. He does like this girl. So, this is I said before that everything changed with the flashback fire scene. This is the most unbelievable scene in the entire movie, though. So while Lee is out running his, fake errands and whatnot, he ends up running into Randy with her newborn. And they, this is the first time that he's ever seen the baby. She was pregnant the last time that they saw each other. And they end up... So I actually think, I am pretty sure, Michelle Williams is nominated for... Yes, she is. Actress in a supporting role.
Okay, so she is also nominated.
And
Incredible.
She is really not in this movie at all. She has about two, 3 scenes.
I think she's probably has 8 minutes total.
Yeah.
And the movie's about 2 hours, 20 minutes. She has 8 minutes.
And in all honesty, if she took this away, I mean, for this one scene alone, I would say it was deserved.
Right.
So essentially, she is basically telling Lee that even after everything that they have been through with losing their kids because of him and, basically just like all the negativity that's come from it ever since, she still loves him and she forgives him. And I don't know this was getting to the point where it was, I'll leave my husband because I still love you and I want to get back with you. But I think it was more, I still want to be your friend and I want you in my life.
Well, like, in her head, like, this is kind of fucked up for the kid, but, like, you gotta think, like, the newborn kid, it was like, if this, like, do you tell that kid what happened? You know, like, and that kid has to live with the fact that, like, for him to be born, 3 kids had to die, and, like,
Yeah.
you know, like, it's really fucked up and heavy, and I didn't think, because at this point, I realized that this isn't, like, a bullshit Hollywood movie, that they weren't going to end up together, like, because that wouldn't fucking happen in real life.
No way.
But, like, in that sense, it's, like, incredibly fucking sad that she's, like, I still, like, will always love you, but, like, this terrible thing happened to us, but, like, you know, obviously she wished it hadn't. Her life would still be happy. She would still be happy with her life if that hadn't happened.
Absolutely. And I mean, just the emotion that comes out of these two, and it's still the same thing from Casey Affleck. I mean, it's a lot of like when they were on the phone, it's a lot of like, oh no, that's okay. Okay.
Yeah,
right.
like he's trying to leave.
No, he does not want any part of this, but he's tearing up and you can just see he's losing it. And I mean, like I said, I 100% teared up during this scene. It was,
right.
I mean, it was powerful how good it was.
I think the whole movie theater was crying. And there were a lot of people by themselves in that movie theater. And I was like, damn, dude, I don't know, like, if I could come to this movie by myself like this and just start crying in a movie theater.
Hell no.
But, like,
I mean, that scene is just, it's so goddamn good. And I think when we end up doing an award recap or preview, we're going to have to, like, loop back around and talk about best scenes that we saw. Because it's, I mean, obviously that's not a category in the Oscars. I think,
but it's a category for us.
Yeah, and I think that this is going to be a heavy front runner for best scene that I've seen in any of these movies.
It was definitely one of the more emotional scenes that I've seen in a movie.
Absolutely. And from here, you kind of just see Lee start to break down. He ends up going to a bar and gets hammered. He gets into a fight with somebody, and he kind of just breaks down. And they're kind of this part's done in like a montage type way, but you see them going to Joe's best friend's house. You see them kind of like going around town and whatnot. And I was just thinking, like, I know you said before just a minute ago that this wasn't like the Hollywood norm where, you know, everybody's going to be happy and end up together, but I legitimately was sitting, you know, by myself, and I said, there's no way that Lee and Patrick can't end up together, living as like a father-son type deal.
Right, yeah.
And, you know, I'm watching this, and I was just like, no, something's going to happen. Something's going to happen and change this whole dynamic, and they are going to stay together in Manchester.
Right.
And, I mean, basically what happens is, I mean, they wrap the movie up pretty quick.
Yeah.
Lee...
right after that.
Yeah, they go to the funeral finally. Patrick and Lee have a conversation on the way home, and Lee tells him, listen, like, George is going to adopt you and take you in. I'm going to go back to Quincy.
No, he goes to Charlestown.
Oh, he does get it. He gets a new job, right. He says, I'm going to go to Charlestown.
Links up with his brother.
Yeah, you can...
And they start robbing banks. And then that's the beginning of the town.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's how it all works.
Yeah, it's all connected.
You know, so they he says, I'm going to Charlestown. I got a job there. You can come visit me whenever you want. And basically, you know, I love you and we'll always be, you know, connected. I'll always be here for you if you ever need anything. They go out on the boat and go fishing, and the movie ends.
Yeah, but something really important that he said was, you know, I'm sorry, but I just can't beat this. Yes. And it was like his guilt and just like shame of him and his depression. He just couldn't.
Good point.
Couldn't get over it of like just what happened to him. That everything would just be like oh, like, this is great. Like, I have a son now, and like that's not real. That's not a real thing. Like,
No.
someone that happened to someone, they wouldn't like. It would be nearly impossible for them to move back to that town.
It's totally understandable. I mean,
Right.
it's crazy to think about something like that happening. But I mean, from here, where do we go? I mean, it got a little heavy. We're probably about at our time. So
It was very, very heavy.
So why don't we get Mo in here? Bring a little lightheartedness.
We're gonna lighten the mood up a little bit. We're gonna start talking. We're gonna get our accent judge, someone who has spent a lot of time in Massachusetts, specifically the Boston area. She's a graduate of Boston College, so she knows all about this.
Boston, Massachusetts, the Windy City.
She's here to rate the Boston accents. Mo, let's take it away to Mo.
Mo, send it to Mo. Mo.
Hi guys, thanks for having me.
Mo. Oh, so happy to finally have a female on the show.
Yeah, like this began as just two idiot guys talking about movies, and now we are graced by the pleasure of a woman finally, and she's going to tell us how bad our Boston accents are and how good or bad the accents were in this movie.
Well, let's flip those around. So first of all, Mo, let's go into accents in this movie, because we've actually just found out during the recording, Patrick is from New York.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
I did not know that either, because I thought his accent was pretty good. What about you?
I also agree. I was trying to listen with a critical ear so I could make fun of some people for you guys, but I thought everybody was actually pretty good. There was only 2 instances where I thought it got a little out of hand.
Okay, this is good.
The first one was young Patrick, when he was talking about sharks a lot when they were on the boat.
We brought this up.
Oh, you did?
Yes.
So he just kept saying shock. Like, it was like back to back, and I thought that was
not a shock, actually. He was saying it's not a shock.
Yeah, right. That's what it was. And then the second time was when his 2 friends, when they're the teenage versions, when his 2 friends were talking about Star Wars and Star Trek. And they were like, Star Wars, Star Trek, back to back. So those were the only 2 times where I was kind of like, okay, we get it.
So you would say people with Boston accents aren't speaking like that all the time. You would say that it's a one word, maybe sometimes.
I think
the way that Casey Affleck portrayed it, which was probably his normal speaking voice.
Yeah, I think it's a lot more subtle than how the media portrays it.
Ooh.
Oh,
we get it.
Looking at you, big J journalist.
We're a non-political. We're non-political. We're staying away from media criticism. Yeah.
So, Anthony, I think it's only fair. Now we should give ours, because Mo thought that they were well done. Want to go?
Do you think that we could have been in Manchester by the sea?
Yeah. Bad radio. Want to go rock paper scissors to see who goes first?
Yeah, bad radio.
Okay, ready? Rock paper scissors shoot. Both through scissors. Rock paper scissors says shoot.
What's up? Paper?
That's paper. It's paper.
I got scissors.
All right. So basically, what I would say would be, when I went down to Manchester by the sea. Hold on. I went down to Manchester by the sea, and I found a shark. It was not a shark. It ended up being. This is coming out.
Yeah, it's like Aussie.
Yeah, it's coming. My Australian. I do a pretty good Australian, actually.
Yeah.
All right, kid. I'm gonna bail you out, kid. All right.
All right, go ahead.
We're gonna go Fenway Park. We're gonna see the Sox. They're gonna kill the fucking Yanks. And Jason Varitek's gonna have 3 RBIs. And then we're gonna go across the street. We're gonna piss on some cars. And we're gonna go back home to Dorchester, kid, because that's where we're from, Dorchester.
No, I'm just giving you a hard time. I was actually from Australia the whole time. I wasn't doing a Boston accent. It was actually Australian the whole entire time.
Mo, how would you rank our accents, Australian and otherwise?
Australian was really good.
Yeah, it's not bad, is it?
All right, don't inflate his ego.
Nah, it's not bad at all. I'll tell you that much. I might do the whole podcast this week.
I think that you go up a couple octaves when you do the Boston one.
Well, you gotta get
and
loud.
you also get really hunched over.
Bad radio.
Bad radio. people can't see that.
I do.
People don't know about
I
that.
do actually. You dropped Kid. Kid was exceptionally.
Yeah, well, I watch a lot of CT.
Yeah. Oh, true.
Oh, so you were channeling CT.
Yeah,
I was gonna say,
I'm channeling CT.
I choked big time on this. I think I can do a Boston accent. I just can't think of it right now.
It's all right. You know, we have a full weekend.
Yeah.
We'll work on this. We're gonna workshop this.
Yeah.
We're actually thinking maybe we'll have a live episode in Lake Placid.
Yeah.
this week.
Wait. Hold on though. Before Mo leaves, because this is I wanted to get to this. So, Casey Affleck throughout the movie is, I mean, he's like seen as a super hot guy. Like, there's the girl in the beginning, in the apartment that he works at, who tells the girl, her friend on the phone, like, I'm in love with my janitor. And there's the girl at the bar who wants to hit on him, he won't talk to. And then there's the girlfriend's mom. Who is hotter, Casey Affleck or Ben Affleck?
Oh, interesting. So, well, Casey Affleck has really nice blue eyes. What color are Ben Affleck's eyes?
They're wicked blue.
There might be blue as well.
They are?
I don't know.
Well, they don't stand out as much.
I think they're brown actually.
They could be brown.
So, see, they're not memorable.
What
So, I think it's
Mo is trying to say, she's into blue eyes. So
Well, and Casey Affleck has kind of like the troubled thing going on, which some girls.
and she likes bad boys with blue eyes. She's come to the right place.
So,
I don't know.
I mean, what about
He's
Ben
also
Affleck
very good
now?
looking. I guess it's a tough call.
Yeah, what about Ben Affleck now, like after his Batman workout when he got all buff?
Yeah, he's buff. But I don't know, I can't overlook what happened with Jennifer Garner.
Oh, yeah. Is Casey Affleck married?
Yeah.
Actually,
So
he might be in some
he's in some issues as well.
Oh.
He never banged a nanny though.
Oh.
But apparently, so this is the thing. So we're not judging Casey Affleck by whatever is going on in his life. We're judging him by his acting. So if he loses any support for Best Actor,
Yeah.
what happens in his life, I don't want to fucking hear it. This man can fucking act.
Oh, yeah, he's a wicked good actor.
A wicked head. Yes, we did.
Yeah. Wait, but tell me about what's the weird thing you said about Casey Affleck?
Apparently he's in some sort of weird, it's not like domestic abuse, but it's like something like his like, well, he was married, to Joaquin Phoenix's wife. He was married to Joaquin
Sister?
Phoenix's sister.
Yeah.
Right, and then they got divorced, but then some girl that he was dating came out and said that he was like abusive, but like no one really knows for sure. And there's a lot of allegations going on about him in his personal life that I'm not taking into account.
They separated in 2016.
Yes.
Yeah.
I guess that I guess he cheated on her or something with like another girl.
But it says they remain good friends. I just read.
Right. Yeah. I mean, he's still boys with Joaquin Phoenix. They made that crazy fucking movie about him.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I'm still here.
Yeah. Right. So, I guess that's it. I mean, if we had to rank these two movies at this point, where are you going?
I'd say Manchester by the Sea and then Hacksaw Ridge, and it's not to take anything away from Hacksaw Ridge.
No.
With these two movies, they're completely different. You have one about like the mundane, real life shit, and then the other one is like the extraordinary like events that have taken place.
Yeah. No. Absolutely. I would probably go the same way, Manchester and then Hacksaw. But I mean, not take nothing away from Hacksaw. So obviously this was nominated for Best Picture at the Oscars. Manchester by the Sea was also nominated with actor in a leading role with Casey Affleck, actor in a supporting role Lucas Hedges, actress in a supporting role Michelle Williams, directing, and writing. So that Matt Damon could actually win an Oscar for this, I believe.
No, he didn't write it. The director.
Oh, he produced it. I'm sorry. You're right.
He just pitched the idea
Right.
to the writer, who also then wrote and directed it.
Okay, good point. I get the only other thing I would say is watch Casey Affleck do the Dunkin' Donuts commercial on SNL.
I totally agree.
It is hilarious.
How would you rank that?
That was spot on.
Yeah, that's so true. As a guy who goes to Dunkin' like every day, it's so true.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
Just
all right,
wow,
so
fuck you.
So that pretty much does it, right?
Yeah, that's it. I would say that we can wrap it up. Manchester by the Sea. Go see it. It's great. Bye, everyone.
Thank you, New England. Thank you, Mo.
Fuck the Patriots.
Go Falcons.